Howdy, folks. Brian Cusco here at Redline Report, and today we've got on Joe and Ash of Fear to Fascination. We're going to hear their story, how they got into content creation and into the reptile world in general, and touch on a deep dive on some subjects like we usually do on this channel. You're watching Redline Report. So I remember when I first met you guys was here at this show.
I think so. Either it probably was here.
Our first Tinley.
I thought it might have been Pomona, but no, I think it was here.
No, it was here.
Yeah, our first Tinley.
It was here.
Because we geeked out. We saw you. We fanboy, fangirled out. You already know. Because, Brian Barczyk was such an inspiration to us, and you were obviously one of the first channels we came across too.
Yes.
And so when you're getting into it, research is key, right? You're going to research everything you can take in. So every episode, I'm like right there watching all of them. So, of course, when we saw you, it's exciting. That's what Tinley's all about. We all get to see each other and actually connect. I love it.
So, but were you guys? I knew you were even at that moment. You were Fear to Fascination at that moment.
Yeah.
When I first met you guys, I remember.
For sure. Yeah, like 6 years ago, I was afraid of snakes. Almost 7 at this point. Just realized you fear what you don't know. I had gotten into rock climbing, jumped out of a plane trying to get over my fear of heights. And once I conquered my fear of heights, the last one was really the snakes. And I had this strange and practical fear. So like as a kid, I collected them in the desert. I wasn't afraid. I was kind of like a lot of people here in the community. But as I got older and I wasn't as into reptiles, I just had a dog. Took care of my grandmother until she passed away, who was like my mom to me. And she was deathly afraid of snakes. Like I put a rubber snake in the fridge once, she almost had a heart attack.
So don't do that.
And so as crazy as it is, I don't know what it is, Brian, but like when she passed away, I'm at what's it called? First Friday Art Festival in Las Vegas, and there's a guy on the corner with the boa, and there's some little girls there like handling the snake. And my palms start sweating, and I'm getting like, I can feel it, and I have to cross the street. And that's when I realized, now that's an impractical fear. Like a rattlesnake or something, understandable, but why do I have that? And so I just wanted to face my fears. Came to a reptile show, touched a snake, got into it, started researching, learning, fell in love with it. Brian Barczyk's channel, the Mojave, all white snake with blue eyes. We start with our banana, then we get an albino the same day at the reptile show. And I mean, that's kind of, story's a longer one, but that's where it started. It was conquer my fear. So I right away said, these are so amazing. I used to think people into snakes were weirdos. And so, like, a lot of people don't understand us in our community.
If girls had snakes, he thought they were witches.
Oh, yeah, it's the funniest.
Seances.
If I met a girl and she's like, I got a snake, I was like, oh, you're a crazy chick. It does like seances at night. I didn't know any better. And so I wanted to help conquer people's fears and get over that misconception and bring more people into our community because it just blew my mind that this existed.
So did you have a snake when you guys met?
No, I didn't. I didn't have a snake and I didn't have a fear. My little brother had ball pythons, so I was like around it, but just, okay, indifferent. And then, he got into it. And I remember, and it's funny how stories go because like for me, the story is crazy wild. Like he gets a corn snake. This corn snake gets out. We get the corn snake. It bites him, and it's one of the biggest laughs that we have because you can't even like get blood out of the bite. And we're like, "What is going on?" Like,
I went,
what?
Ah!
Yeah, he
as soon as he bit me,
screamed so like he shrieked. And then I'm at work the next day, and I get a text message, and it's like, "I have the bug." Now, stupid me.
I couldn't stop thinking about snakes.
I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, the snake bit him. He has the bug. Like, what did the snake give him? Like, I thought you had a snake bug. And I was like freaking out. And then I realized, no, he had the snake bug. Like, he was hooked.
I'm hooked.
Completely, like, digesting all this information. We go to the expo, we get our albino, we get our banana. And like a couple months go by and it's like a snake here, a snake there. And then I come home and there's a stack of snakes taller than me. And he's like, oh, so we're breeders now. And I was like,
the FedEx guy told me, you got to calm down, buddy.
Okay.
They were coming to the house for a while.
Yeah, we weren't even living together at the time. I was just coming over after work, actually. And I was like, yeah.
Well, you just came home from one day? Like you hadn't been there one day and then there was a stack?
One day. He had ordered so many snakes from Morph Market and they all arrived. It was bonkers. I think I have a picture of it because it's all these boxes
stacked
stacked
of like
up.
10 boxes on this one day.
Yeah, and I was like, what is going on? Yes.
Yeah, you could call it fear to addiction, but we'll go with fear to fascination.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's when you said you came up, like as you were just sharing that, and you were like, yeah, I came home. I was thinking, oh, so you're like on a work trip or something.
No, in an 8-hour shift. Okay?
Here's a really cool story with it, Brian, is that we were just getting together. So I'm literally like a month into our relationship, and I'm getting these snakes, and I'm like, dang, I like this girl. I hope I don't scare her away, I'm getting these snakes and everything. But she was down for it. And then it gets even crazier. Because here we are at 30, 40 ball pythons. Funny as can be, tanks all over the house, literally fish tanks, so everywhere in the room, all over the place, not into the
all these
racks yet or
enclosures.
anything. And we go to the pet store, and I'm picking up rats, and they become friends. So they're like, Joe, we can't sell you the rats this week. I'm like, what do you mean you can't sell me the rats? I see the rats right there. And they're like, we forgot to get food for them this week, so they're not looking too good. And I'm like, bro, you're the pet shop. You can't like forget to get food for the animals. You know, if it's in a cage, you got to feed it. And I care so much about our ball pythons. I'm like, if we're gonna care that much about the ball python, we got to care about what goes into it.
And then
so we
he found
decided
out how crazy I am.
Yeah, because then I'm like, okay, we got to breed our own. I'm going to build one of these racks, and I'm going to figure this out. But I don't know where I'm going to do it. My house is packed full of animals, you know? And she goes, well, hey, babe, I mean, not really at my apartment anymore. We got the garage there. If you want to breed them in my garage, you can. And I'm like, you serious?
Yeah, I was like,
so we
let's
built
build
the racks, put them in there. And anytime we tell somebody that from the reptile community, they're like, and you didn't marry her right there?
It was incredible. Like, we had 3 racks that we built, like, from YouTube to Pinterest on, like, what are we doing? How do we build this? And literally blood, sweat, and tears went into building those. I will never get rid of racks A, B, and C. They're going to be buried with me. Yeah. It was incredible.
Yeah, that is, I mean, I concur, like, because I've personally, like, I've touched on the idea of breeding rodents. I know for sure my wife is like, no. And I also don't really want to myself either because of just time and, you know.
It's a lot.
I know it's a lot. I know it's probably worth it.
So worth it.
And yet still, I came so close one time. I was this close. I was like going to get the rack and everything. And I was like, something stopped me. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
The smell?
It's probably the best. To be honest, at this point, we started out, and I would always advise people, if you have a large collection, do it. Yeah. But I'm like, if you can afford to not do it,
then
strictly
don't.
around the time. It just is a lot of time, you know, and especially before we leave for a trip, the preparation that goes into taking care of all of our animals our rats. And then I used to get anxiety about it, but we're now dialed in. We do it really good, but I'm like freaking out. I want to make sure a water line doesn't clog or something happens. And but you know,
I wouldn't change it.
Yeah,
like, I honestly
this
love
show's
that.
been the best for us, where we really, like, every show, it seems like we get better and better at the prep.
Yes.
We get a little more time before we got to walk out the door each time, so it feels good. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, because I know the rats take a lot more time and work, or they just need more attention than the snakes.
They need more attention. Yeah, they need daily, peeking in, making sure they're good, especially if you have your litters, and then you're just making sure that rotation's always good. Of course, water line is a big thing because they like to clog their water lines. Sometimes they like to flood their enclosure. So you just got to make sure they're not killing themselves.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
You guys are moving into, so, I mean, you've done the reptile breeds. How many animals do you have now?
We have like around 400 ball pythons, and then we have we don't do TV, so our living room is an actual living room of animals from all over the world. So it's just a wall of
beardies, red-eyed crocs,
all kinds of crazy exotic animals, from rainforest to desert animals, and so yeah, we've got a lot of animals to take care of,
and a cat.
And a cat.
Wow. I saw a lady flying with her cat on the way here. It was
hilarious.
She so we're
one of those backpacks with the little cat?
It was just like a little carrying case.
Oh,
but I'm just laughing because when we were getting in the elevator, like out of the tram station, she the elevator started closing, and she put her
cat
into the thing to try and stop, and the doors kept closing.
Oh my!
I could just hear.
Wow. Well.
She cared so much about the cat. She paid for a ticket, brought the thing along. It was like door stopper.
Oh man!
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys are doing like more. How long have you guys been doing the social media thing? It's been for a while.
Yeah. You know, it's a cool thing, Brian. Like, I think also with you almost observing it, it didn't seem like you were like, I need to make a content channel. And I'm going to, it seems that naturally we noticed that there was a void and that it needed to be filled in a way. And it just happened for us coming to the show. Tinley became this yearly thing every October for us to come and meet all of the breeders and just see everything, get to know everyone. And it wasn't an intention to like document it, but eventually you're taking photos. We're just fanning. We're here to see Levance. We're here to see Ozzy. We're here to see Justin. We're here to see you. We're here to see all the folks that, we see online. And before you know it, we're friends with these people, and we're going to dinner and taking pictures. And I'm like, hey, I want to shout you out on our page. And it started as little shout outs. I noticed there was podcasts. There's a lot of long form content that we love, but I know there was
almost oversaturation.
Everything that was short form just seemed like a clip that was taken from something long form. And so I wanted to create stuff that was just a short clip, easy to consume, but it shouted out all these breeders and people that folks may never be able to meet. And not just the big people, but one thing we specialize in now is like the hidden gems at the show. The people you don't see the big banner. You might walk right by their table, but man, they got some cool stuff or an amazing story. And so that's the void I saw. We just started filling it because we wanted to help those folks, and it turned into
What it
business
is,
for
yeah.
us, and being able to help promote other brands. And Redline has been out of this world amazing. Robin has taken us under his wing and helped us in so many ways and introduced us to a lot of folks. We've made tons of great content for him, and now working with Palm Street as one of our clients, and just having a blast getting more people out there knowing about Palm Street. So we love Morph Market. Where would we be without it? But it's great to have more than just one source of place to provide our animals online. And we love those live auctions. So yeah, it's naturally growing, and we're having fun with it. Just trying to make sure we have fun with it. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, except like there's a couple posts I saw where you were like clearly having almost too much fun.
You mean when she climbed in the enclosure at the St.
that
Louis
was,
show?
That was incredible.
that was awesome. That was awesome. Just the energy, like there's.
Yeah.
I mentioned it to you before, like the energy.
It has to be authentic. You have to be fun. That's what I love about it. Is it's always like spur of the moment, but it's well thought through. We're like, okay, well, this is what our intention is, and then whatever comes from it comes from it. And I'm like, all right.
We kind of laugh to each other when we get back to the hotel sometimes, and people meet us and they're like, wow, you guys are really like that.
Yeah.
You're like, it's not a thing you turned on. Like, you guys are just like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's helpful to do that. I find it helpful to do that because then you don't need to like. There's a protection, I would say, in having a character.
Totally.
That you do. That's the thing. I know there's some folks that have gotten pretty big on social media stuff, and
Yes.
they're playing a character.
Yeah.
And that character gets attacked a lot. So there's a safety in that where it's like, oh, well, that's just a character I'm playing, so I'm not worried about that character getting attacked. The trouble would be I would think, is if you go out to events and stuff and you kind of have to keep up that character. That seems to me like it would be a lot of energy to try and maintain and do.
That would be not fun.
Yeah, and some people can do it, but I think it's a rare person that's built like that. And
That's really true. Yeah.
Versus how you guys are saying, like being authentic and just being yourself. Like if somebody attacks that, then you're like, ouch. It's like that's not a character I'm playing. That's me.
I know. That is true.
And I guess for me, having duck skin. I always remind myself I graduated high school.
She's good.
So if someone has something to say about me or their opinion about me, I'm okay with it because that's a one singular interaction. Maybe I did give them a bad interaction, but that's not everyone. And so I'm just like, okay, fine.
Well, you're not going to please everybody, but then also it's just like the fact that you are yourself. And then when you come out to events and whatnot, and you're interacting with people, you don't have to like play this character. It's just you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell them all the time. I'm like, you know what to expect with me. I'm going to ask the weirdest questions, always, and we're going to get to a really cool conversation because whatever is popping up here, it's going to come out of my mouth.
We are definitely an opposites attract type situation, and it's made a perfect dynamic for what we do. I'm kind of real, like, let's lock this in. Let's make sure we get it.
He uses his front lobe, and I'm just like.
That's a good mix.
No,
because the frontal lobe is important.
Yes.
That's kind of like how we're staying alive most days.
Thank you. Thank you.
But what fun would it be without some random? Hey, what happened if? How long is my beta supposed to live? Was it supposed to live 3 years?
Question. And I got to a really good story about someone swallowing a fish and vomiting up whole. But we don't know the facts.
The guy looks over at him and he's like, "I don't believe you." It was hilarious. He's like, "No, I swear it was 30 minutes." He's like, "I don't believe you. If you'd have told me that he puked the fish up right away, I'd have believed you. But I don't believe you." And it just made this funny conversation.
It was great.
Yeah, she had to be there.
I mean, those fish are, I guess, pretty resilient.
Hey, 30 minutes in the stomach acid?
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. To live through that. I mean, if it was a catfish, I'd be like, yeah, probably. But
Now,
if you swallowed a whole catfish, okay.
There's small ones. Small little baby or whatever.
Then I fried that thing up and ate it up.
Oh, my heaven, no.
It's already been pre-digested a little bit. You need a little pre-digested fluids.
You want some mama bird catfish is all I could think about. I'm okay.
You are hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, but the fun part, getting the frontal lobe out of the way. I actually read this book. It's called, I think it was just called Drunk. Or something like that. I think it was just Drunk.
I think I've heard of this book.
Yeah, it was like how we danced, sipped, and stumbled our way into civilization or something.
Oh, I like that.
It was talking about like the importance of like the theory or the argument that was backed up by historical proof, so to speak, was that some of the first civilizations were built around farming. And also that farming was potentially to store grain and grow grain for alcohol.
Yeah, the barley.
Versus like food. So, and I thought that was interesting. Anyway, that was part of that was one of the premises in the book. But just went into the actual research of like a lot of these tech companies, they have like happy hour in the middle of the day
Wow.
because getting that frontal lobe out of the way just a little bit,
Creativity
Oh.
starts to flow.
creativity starts to flow.
Yeah.
And they're finding that much more like innovative stuff is happening, and they're like literally growing these huge monster companies with that theory in
Yeah.
mind of like, we're not going to let the frontal lobe take over the whole way and just like be super smart about everything, which is smart, and there is a lot of survival to have, and you
Yes.
won't survive without it.
Yeah.
You will literally walk into a front of a car because you don't care.
You'll
Totally.
literally walk out of your hotel room every single time
And
and,
go
have
left
no
instead of right.
idea where to go.
No, but again though, and you won't go on one of those random adventures to the left every once in a great while that takes you on a life-telling
Yes.
story. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so it is that dynamic that we have together that makes it perfect. And something random in my mind that hits is a conversation I had with another content creator on this trip. Is really like honing in. Like some people, maybe the character, they're thinking it's something they have to create to appease to other people, right?
Yeah.
And as we've just done the natural thing we do, I see people who may be a little bit edgier have a specific following, and I say to them, I'm like, who do we want to talk to? Who is, because you want to know who you're talking to with your crowd. You want to like really hone in and dial it in. And for me, I meet people and I feel like I can get along with anybody, so. But you got to hone in on who that posse is, that crowd is. And so the conversation I had was like, stick to what feels good and natural for you and go with that. Not everyone is going to like you. Like you said, some people may not like that character that someone else created, but they've got their people that's that lane.
Yeah,
some
build the
people are going to
tribe.
like us and it's digestible and they enjoy it, and some people aren't. And you just have to be okay with that and still just create out of the love of, your passion. For us, it's Brian Barczyk. I mean, I don't think we'd be doing this if I didn't see what Brian did. And then when Brian passed, it's like, okay, I mean, we owe this to the community. He inspired
Let's keep
us.
this
He brought us
going.
in. Like,
Yeah.
it's up to all of us to bring more people into the community. We saw a mentality that was so strange when we came in where it's like, oh, don't teach him how to do it. Don't bring them in at the very beginning with ball pythons. It seemed very secretive. I mean, one of our first reptile shows, kid comes up to the booth, just moved here from the Bay. I want to breed ball pythons, but a local breeder here told me you can't breed ball pythons because the elevation. I go, hold on, Daniel, a local breeder told you? How's he breeding, And he's like, oh, that is, I didn't really think about that one. And I go, people don't want you to do it because they look at you as competition. I told him, hey, you let me know. Helped him out, gets his first clutch going. Now he's got a banner. He's at our booth. We put him in our end cap, and he's got his own little table there. And it's like, that's what it's about, man. Bring people in. And so that's why we do the content,
Yeah.
Bring people in.
Elevation, that's a new one.
Yeah.
No, I've not heard that one.
It is. And I love that you did that or you said that because I feel the same way. And my niche is always about the young girls. Every time I have a young girl come up, I'm like, you could be me. Like, you could do this. And it makes me so happy inside. And especially like young girls of color. Like when they come up and their parents are like, I'm trying to get them to venture into something new. And I'm like, oh yeah. Sitting there and I'm like, look at this. Like, touch the snake. It's not a cat. It's not a dog. And educating them. And I was just sitting here and I was like, oh, I have to come up with a shirt that say like, girls kick butt and name snakes. Because I do
She
name
always wants to name all my snakes. I'm like, I got a new snake. She's like, it's named
Yeah,
Sally.
it's
I'm like,
named
no, that is not it.
Peppermint.
It's my
Yeah.
snake. I'm gonna name it. So that's
Name
where I go
snakes,
from.
man. I went to a hard left in my brain with that.
Oh no.
No, it was good. It was a good one. It was just like,
No.
yeah, it was interesting. I went biblical in my head for a second. I was like,
Bro.
you gotta tame it to name it. You gotta name it to
You gotta,
tame it.
ooh, you gotta tame it to
You gotta
name
name it to tame it.
No,
You
you gotta
can't-
tame it to name it. You gotta tame the thing first before you get to name it. I like that,
I
especially
like-
with lizards and stuff. No, but
But yeah, this thing's still scratching me up and trying to bite me. Maybe you don't want to
Yeah.
name it at that
yeah,
moment.
Right.
Wait till
No.
you get to a spot where you're
exactly.
like,
That might
okay.
not be yours. He's letting you know.
Yeah.
But one thing I gotta say is the first time we did a show and I watched a girl walk up to her and go, "Oh my God, it's you!" And she's like, "Huh? What?" Like, never had that
Yes.
experience.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh my God, I don't know how I feel about that really." And
Yeah.
she's an introverted person for the most part. She's not, hey, look at me. When
I'm
I
not.
got with her, one of my big appeals was she didn't have any social media
Yeah.
at all. And so now she's stepped into it. She sees that she can inspire others and she loves what she's doing and wants to share it with other people.
Yes. And that's the only time you're going to catch me on camera is when I know I could inspire. Other than that, I'm like,
Yeah.
Sure,
But it's
I'm
cool.
pretty sure I got a good clip of you headbanging.
oh my God. Possibly. Okay. Possibly. I love it.
It pops up every now and then. When
It does. I have really big spurts of energy. And then other than that, I'm like, all right, let's chill.
Yeah,
That's fine.
that was a good one.
Yes.
That was a good one. every now and then some of my kids are always like, you have long hair? It's like, yeah, so I'll pull up that, I'll look for that video, and then
That
I get to
is,
see everybody that ended up.
I miss your long hair.
It's a
Yeah.
nice little memory.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
crazy to think you did have
Yeah,
long hair.
it's almost like you can't even
we
imagine
were
it now, but
watching
when
you
we
with
started, you had long hair, yeah.
I don't miss it, not even the slightest.
Can I direction shift and ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay, we love what you're doing with this show. We love everything you've done online, obviously,
Yes.
but this being something that's really important, amazing for our community. Every time that we come into Tinley, what do we see? You're right here, right at the booth. Before anyone can buy a ticket, come to VIP, anything. And you do these interviews at every single show, post them up online. What's your story with how you came in contact with Robin? You know, he's been a huge life changer for us. I'm curious where your journey started with Robin.
Robin, I met not through Brian per se. I had was it 2015? I think it was my first year when I was back keeping snakes. I had a video of a little hatchling, a retic that I still have. She's my biggest snake now, actually. But in this video, she fit in the palm of my hand.
Oh my
so cool.
God.
But she was shedding. I happened to catch her shedding one time, and I think I was filming with a GoPro, and I just like set up in a couple different angles and just filmed her whole shedding process. And then I did put it to music and like had some moments where it like
I think
sped
I
up really
remember
fast.
this.
And then there was like a moment. I remember she came right in front of the camera, rubbing her nose, getting that shed off one time, and I slowed that part down. So it was like an interesting combo of slow motion
Uh-huh.
and time lapse in one video
Yes.
with music. And Robin saw that and shared it on Reptile Report.
Nice.
And when he shared it on Reptile Report, like it went
Crazy.
Like it was maybe my first piece of like viral content, I think. And so there was that connection. And then I also got was it 2017? I think it was 2017 when Reptile Report was still doing the like rewards
Yes.
or the award. You know, once a year they'd have like those glass plaques they would send out to like best video show of the year or best breeder of this of the year, best artist, in the reptile world, and I got like editor's choice like best video channel of the year, and that was because
Nice.
of a conversation that
That's so
Robin
cool.
had with Brian.
Wow.
And I was blown away. I was like, what? How did this? Like, because I was very small at that
Yes.
point. And I did put a lot of effort into the videos. Like, there was a lot of, as you see now, that this isn't a new thing. I've always geeked out on like trying to do as good as I can with production quality. But yeah, it was. I remember Brian talking to me one time. He was like, yeah, I mentioned to you to Robin about this, and then I got that thing. So Robin and I were kind of in contact there, and then at some point he reached out about like sponsorship, and we talked a lot. We had a long talk about it because I don't take sponsorships lightly, and so I had some questions for him, about
Yeah.
like different. I don't know,
See if you guys aligned.
yeah, and then there was just a lot of different things that lined up as far as like our values, as well as like he grew up in Hawaii. I think you know that.
Uh-huh.
And so we had that Hawaii connection
Love it.
too.
Yes.
And then the interesting thing was the timing of like when I decided I was going to rebrand Triple B TV to Redline Report, and like had talked to Robin about that. And the first piece of content that we posted as Redline Report, I hadn't actually done anything with Triple B TV for almost a year. Like
Oh.
I just kind of let it go to the wayside because the vlog channel does so well, and I just really focused on that.
Yeah.
And I was just too overwhelmed with stuff. But it ended up being like the same day that I posted the announcement of switching to Redline. I looked back at the last video I'd uploaded, and it was a sit down with Robin, and that was the last piece of content. I didn't even realize that. So it's just all these little things lined
Yeah.
up along
Meant to
the
be.
way, and then we still like. I mean, you know how hospitality is and stuff, but like just getting to go and spend time with him and get to know Nikki and like.
Oh my gosh, obsessed with Nikki.
Yeah, and just
The
the way to
best.
take me into the house and just like here, you can come sleep at the house and just like that aloha spirit type of thing.
Yes.
It's just like
I've given Robin like 5 nicknames in my head. So it's Papa Rob because he's taken us under his wing. I'm like, then there's Uncle Rob because he's like a big brother uncle.
Rob
and
Proctor.
Then Rob Proctor is his nickname because he's like my guru. So I'm like, you're like my new Bob Proctor. So you're now Rob Proctor. So yeah.
You know, the biggest thing for me is there's a lot of great people in our community, right? And there's a lot of motivational, inspiring people in our community that inspire us from an outside source, right? There's very few people I've met that empower you. You know, they speak words
Oh,
into you
yeah.
that let you know what you're doing is something great. And they make you want to like be better than what you're already doing. And Robin,
Every time.
man, he
I think I
speaks
grow
that light into you.
inches after he talks to me. I'm probably like 5'6" now.
Yeah. We had a really deep conversation the other day, and I left, and I sat in the hotel room, and I must have spent like 30, 45
Oh,
minutes decompressing
easily.
the experience. And I was like, man, this is serious. We got to take this very serious.
Yeah.
And not that we don't, but certain things that just made me realize, like, oh, we are that. Especially I try not to be like, we all have some ego. Obviously, it keeps us moving and going. But I try like to be in control of my ego and not be egotistical. But also, you're jamming, you're doing stuff, and sometimes you don't stop to pat yourself on the back or look at what you're really doing. And he's like, he speaks those words in you. He lets you know what you're doing. This, who's doing that? Who's, this and that? Look what you got going on here. And so I love that. You got to do that. Empower people. Speak those words into people.
Yeah.
Because like on the end of the ego for me, this is still so new. Like I'm full-time a reptile breeder. I'm full-time in Fear to Fascination. And so imposter syndrome is a real thing. And so having those conversations with Robin is that little like reminder, like, oh no, fully believe in yourself. Like you have to go all in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, okay. That little voice in my head that's like, are you sure you're doing this right? Or like doing a piece of content. And I'm like, we got to do a redo. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I messed up. And it's like, no, just keep going. So I love those conversations with him last night. Imposter syndrome went out the window. And I was like, oh, I get it now. Like I'm still scared out of my tail with some things, but I get it now. So it's so cool.
Yeah, I never really thought about how good he is at that until you just brought that up. We were sitting out there on the bench yesterday having a conversation for a while, and a couple of things he said, like, I felt myself tearing up, like with a joy and happiness, and like of how much somebody cares about you.
Man,
Without a doubt.
tell me about it.
And
Yes.
I was like, wow, I don't know what's happening right now.
Yeah. It's like, what are these emotions?
Yeah.
It's that realness that Robin brings to the table, man.
And he also has that, like the execution, the willingness, not the willingness only, but like the I got him into pickleball, and he got, which is
You're the one. Now you got us into pickleball.
yes.
You messed my calf up.
Wait, are you going to be
Brian.
playing in May
Are you
next
wi-
month?
Where?
Colorado?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna be there.
100%.
Okay, so now I have to decide who I'm going to be partners with, you or Robin, because Robin and I kicked
He
Joe's
takes
butt.
it so serious. We
Yeah.
love it.
He does.
He
I mean, he's so
loves it.
serious. Like after I got him into it, he's like, he's going out taking lessons, playing stuff, and then have his own line of paddles.
Yes,
with
he
them.
does.
Amazing.
And they're
The
great
best
paddles.
paddles in
They
the
are great
game.
paddles. Like he modeled it after my favorite paddle.
Yeah, he told us. Yeah.
So yeah, Robin, he did say yesterday, he was like, it wouldn't be a bad idea if you'd let me win every now and then. I just help you
you
pick
kick
your
his butt
partner.
that bad every time? Look at how silent he is. He's like, talk about no ego. He's like,
Robin hasn't beat me yet.
We tell
I
him every
love it.
time, I'm like, you come into town, we're going to kick your butt in pickleball. He goes, huh,
Yeah.
yeah, nice try.
He does have a blistering serve.
Oh, he's rude.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
No, he's just rude. That is the one place he's rude and mean. I mean, he's aiming at you.
I think
It was great.
that might be my fault.
Okay, well, there it is. Thanks
Said
a lot.
he is rude.
He is rude. I sat here and said all those nice things about him, but on a pickleball court,
Yeah.
he's a
He's-
butthead.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think we did an uncut video one time where we went out and played, and I was like, kept going over the camera, like, he still hasn't scored. I don't.
Oh, that's funny.
I may have born that in
Okay,
him.
now you.
I
all right.
love
He's
it.
taking it out on us. I see.
Yeah. Who are we going to haze next? We're going to
Oh
find
gosh, even Nikki, he's just
Oh.
bombing her with the ball, and she's like,
It was
trying to-
hilarious. He would come up to me. He's like, "Do I hit it hard?" And I'm
Do I
like,
get her?
He did
Yes.
take it further than I do. Like when I'm playing, I've tried to play to the level I'm playing of people I'm playing with.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's like,
No.
Oh no,
I don't care. But yeah, with a 60-year-old lady, you're getting it.
you're getting it. I love it.
That's good.
It's a fun game. You got to send
It
her.
is. It's
She's
so much
hooked.
fun. I'm hooked. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's good.
Yes.
I like that.
So I'm ready. I got my paddle. I got my serve. I'm understanding when to go forward, when to move backwards.
That's important.
Yep.
That's the Planned
So
Reptile
much.
Expo, right?
It's
That's
chess.
that you're
Yeah,
going to be out
it
at
is.
that one.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely anywhere that anybody's playing pickleball at a reptile event.
You're there.
I'm
I
there.
love it.
100%.
Okay.
And I honestly, I don't think I've ever heard you play music live. So in Colorado, I'm expecting the guitar.
Guitar right here.
If you want to, we could play a little thing. Not here.
No,
because
but how
these people
cool.
see me play, but I can pull that guitar out and we can play it for a minute before you guys take off if you want.
Dope.
Awesome. Yes.
Dope,
That'd be great.
dope, dope.
Yeah. Because Nikki was talking about it and I was like, I haven't seen
Oh,
it.
then you came over to the house and was
Yeah.
playing.
When it was
Okay,
playing
yeah,
and I was like,
yeah.
what? I
That was
like,
a
I'm
pretty
jealous.
cool moment.
Can-
Rob hit me up afterwards. He's like, yeah, now she expects me to learn guitar. And
Yeah.
I said, thanks for that.
Nikki, if you're watching
you-
this, no more not coming to the reptile shows.
We need
you
you.
at these shows.
Yeah, we love you,
Everybody
we
talks
need
about
you.
how you have the best energy
You're
and
a
that you're
favorite.
next to never here. So we need you here.
Yes.
That's
Please.
100%. Well, shoot, guys. We've gone twice as long as we usually
Oh,
do on
yeah.
these things,
It
but that
felt
makes
like it
sense because
just
there's
went-
twice as many
Okay,
people as I
there
usually
it
have
is.
as well.
Well, we had a blast. This is something we
Thank
wanted to do
you.
for a long time, so we really appreciate you having
Super
us
honored.
on.
Yeah. Anything you guys want to share before we wrap?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is follow the content. We're most active on Instagram, but we're stepping it up. We're working harder to be on TikTok, YouTube, everywhere. We are going to be doing more long-form content eventually, which, we'll be in contact. You've been a big help anytime I've asked a
Yes.
question. But right now, we're real focused on our short form and just being able to provide those videos online that gets the word out there. So come see us at a reptile show. If you
In
ever
2
see us,
weeks, actually.
don't be shy. Come up and say hi to us. That's what we come to the shows for. So some
Oh,
people
yeah.
tell us afterwards, we want to say hi, but you're talking to someone. No, come up
Come
and say
up
hi
and
to us.
dance with us. So
Come
in
dance.
2 weeks, we're going to be in San Diego,
This-
Del
well,
Mar.
this is
Oh, yeah.
So you said this is going to post in a month.
In a month.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
So we're
2
not
weeks
going
ago.
to.
you
So
should-
2
Yeah.
weeks ago.
Well,
we
we're
were-
doing, from 2 weeks from here, we do Del Mar. And then a week from that, we're in
Salt Lake City.
doing the Reptilian Nation show. And then 2 weeks after that, we're in.
You have a show.
That's the Colorado show. Or
That's
not
in
long
May.
after it, I
Yeah.
guess. So, yeah, we
We're
got a
all
bunch
over.
of shows coming up. We're either vending
Yes.
it or we're going to be doing content at it. So, yeah.
Colorado show for sure.
Yeah, and-
This
Oh,
one-
yeah.
so this should be just before the Colorado show. I think was
Okay.
in
So we'll be in Colorado.
And with us picking this up, we do have
Yes.
availability for some clients here and there to help promote things. So if you have a sale going on, if you have a brand in the community that you'd like to get more recognition for,
Let us know.
reach out to us. We're here for you. Yeah,
Yes.
we want to help spread the word.
Awesome.
Brian, you the man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Thank you
you.
guys for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Oh, hugs.
Oh, that was so cool.
Just a reminder, guys, that Redline Report is brought to you by Redline Shipping. Link in the description. You want to check out the service. It's the best in the industry. That's my totally biased, but I think reasonable opinion. Yeah, and next week right here on the Redline Report, we will have another fantastic interview for you. So please tune in then. See you there.